Ernie Johnson segue. Ernie Johnson Jr., by the way, inside the NBA Sports Emmy Award-winning studio show. They have a documentary. It's a 4-part documentary series, and first part was last night. First episode aired last night. Part 2 tonight. It's The Role Player at 9 Eastern, and Ernesto Johnson Jr. III joining us on the program. Good morning, Ernie.
And I think, good morning, Dan. I think the answer to your question is, why do those UFOs never land? As if they did see our show, they would just zip past. That's for sure. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Paulie brought up a question to me right before I turned on the microphone to talk to you, and he said, how did Ernie get the job as the host of Inside the NBA? How did you get that?
I was working in Atlanta at a station you remember, local station there, because you were at CNN at the time. I was working for WSB. I was the weekend sports anchor. And the folks at Turner called one day and said, hey, would you want to come and work with us? Because we have this role for you as the host of our Wide World of Sports type show called US Olympic Gold. And so we'd like you to host that for about a year and then become the host of the Goodwill Games in Seattle. And I said, that sounds good. I'll do that. There was really not much talk about the NBA at that point. As things worked out, there was a bit of a power struggle at the top of the Goodwill Games organization in between the time I was hired and the time that the Goodwill Games happened. And so Larry King became the host, and he had Hannah Storm and Nick Charles as his co-hosts. And I was assigned to all the sports that Bo doesn't know, as I referred to it at that point: judo, team handball, modern pentathlon. I was kind of a jack of all trades, covering things at the Goodwill Game. So that didn't exactly shake out the way it was supposed to, but certainly in the long run, when they asked me to host the NBA. That was a pretty good career move.
What was it like when Barkley first came to town?
Oh, I think we're all pumped. I mean, who wouldn't be? Because this was like landing the biggest free agent in history. This was, and especially what made it even better, in a way, was we had kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that he was going to go to NBC. He'll be over there with them, but we'll keep doing our thing. And Kenny and I, really enjoyed working together. But man, when you land that, it's like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And my only question at the time was, when the novelty wears off, is Charles going to say, okay, it's enough of this. I've done 3 shows now. What else is there in my life? So, fortunately, he's been with us for like 21 years or 20 years now. So, no, he's been, Dan, as you know, he's been tremendous. And the whole key to that is he hasn't changed from the person he was as a player to the person he is on TV. And I think that's the danger. If you say all of a sudden, yeah, I've been kind of this outspoken guy and always, always opinionated, but when the red light goes on, now I'm going to hush up. And he's been so far over the edge on that, it's not even funny.
And I know that I don't mean this literally of rehearsing. How much rehearsing do you do? But we have these meetings before a show where you kind of go over topics that you're going to bring up, or you might clue somebody in on a joke that a prank you play on somebody else. But how much of what is said on the show itself are you aware of before the show?
None of it, really, from those guys. No, not from them, because the production meeting, I'm in there with Tim Kiley and Jeremy Levin, who's ever producing that night. And, and about 20, 25 other people are on the call now on these Zoom production meetings.
Oh, Shaq and Charles and Kenny aren't in on
those?
No.
They've never been. And
okay.
and the thing is, part of that was by design, but part of it was like they were like, I'm not going to sit in a meeting for three hours before we go on the air. And it just works out better for us, because if we do have something we want to spring on Kenny, an old piece of video where he gets his pocket picked at midcourt and somebody dunks, we don't want him saying, oh yeah, Kenny, get ready, because in the third segment of postgame, we're going to show this. So that's what we want to do. We just want to be able to spring things on people. And like the other night, we made up this game show for Shaq based on the fact that he, Pascal Siakam the week before, I had said, "You got your eye on Pascal?" And he said, "No, I'm got my eye on Siakam." And it's like, so the next week we had a game show on the air, and could you name what's the first name of these players? And I told him, and I even told Shaq, I said, "Look, here's our stat sheet that we get from Elias or whoever. So every name I'm going to give you, it's either in the top 20 of a department or the top 10 of a department. So, here it is. Here's the last name, Monk. He plays for Charlotte. Eli. No, Malik. Okay. And it was just what we do.
But do the producers have the green light, Ernie? I know it feels like the talent has the green light, but producers poking Hall of Fame players, everything. Are you allowed to, suggest something that might hurt somebody's feelings or make them uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think we've done this long enough to know that no one's feelings are going to get hurt. If that were the case, then there wouldn't be a docuseries right now. People would have bailed on the show. I'm talking about people who were on the show long ago, because every one of us has been in the crosshairs from the other guys. So,
but Shaq does poke Charles. It feels like there's a little bit more tension. No,
man. Did you see Shaq the other night on the wrestling thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Shaq knows drama. Shaq knows TV. Shaq knows what's good. So if Shaq's going to raise his voice at Chuck because they can't agree on exactly where Kristaps Porzingis should be in the Dallas offense, it's not that they're going to step out in the parking lot. It's just, it's good conversation, but it's never forced. It's never something like, well, Shaq's just going to take this position so that we can have an argument on the air. It's just these guys have different philosophies on the game. So no, but please rest assured, there is not going to be this heavyweight bout of 700 pounds of humanity wrestling on the floor. I'd like to see it, but no.
Have you ever gotten hurt?
Have I ever gotten hurt
on the show? Doing
what?
Like you're sort of in between those guys, or you're just sort of an innocent bystander, then somehow it's collateral damage?
No, Dan, you know me. I'm a sensitive guy. I've only had my feelings hurt. There's been no physical pain.
It's emotional. Emotional pain. I get it. Why are we having All-Star Weekend?
Well, I think because it's a tradition, and it's because obviously there are monetary issues that I'm the last guy to ask about what something's going to mean from a fiscal standpoint. But the commissioner was pretty forthright about that. He said, yeah, look, we want to do this, and it looks like the fans want it because there's so much voting and that kind of thing. But he also was like, look, we need to do this financially. And so having it in Atlanta certainly reduces all the travel for all of our folks, because, we have the game on TNT. So there's nobody flying cross country or flying here and there and that kind of thing. And all the equipment's here. So that's why we're having it. I was surprised. I didn't think, when the word came down that there was going to be one, I was surprised. I thought, just from my view, it was going to be, well, let's get to the All-Star break, and then everybody sit back and take a deep breath and say, hey, we did this. All right, now what can we do on the second half? But again, they have their reasons for doing it. And I'm in a few hours, I'm heading down to the Omni Hotel to quarantine for a couple of days and get tested today. I was tested last night. I'll get tested again today and tomorrow, and then go to the arena Sunday, and we'll do the thing.
The 4-part documentary on Inside the NBA. You can see it on TNT. Tonight is The Role Player. That's part 2. What's the best item in your man cave or your office there?
Picture of me and my dad is pretty cool right there.
Oh, over your right shoulder?
Yeah, right there. From back in '59, I believe. His last year with the Braves. That was from like a father-son day. What else we got here? There's Georgia jersey that says Poppy, which is what my grandkids call me.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of stuff in here. We call this the room because my dad sent me a clipping one time from the AJC that talked about our high school baseball game, and then he said, "Here, put this in the room when it's built." And so, he says that back in the 80s or the 70s. And so my wife and I said, you know what, we're going to make the room. So we just got a bunch of stuff in here, man. I have a very hard time throwing things away.
Any sports Emmys in there?
There's one right there.
Oh, okay.
There are a
couple should have
upstairs.
my name on it. Probably should have my name on it.
Oh, without question.
Yeah, I know.
Without question.
Have you ever won it and felt guilty that I was out there in the audience and I didn't win it?
Yeah, I'm going to try to answer this in a way that doesn't sound like it's mamby-pamby BS. Whenever my name is called on that thing, it's like, how did that happen? Because I always look out there and I see, and you look at the list of guys, and every year it could go to anybody, any of those 5 that are nominated. But there's a special bittersweet feeling when you leave the stage and you and I lock eyes
But I always wonder when I see you win, like, how did I not win when we lock eyes? So, like, how did that happen is what I say.
That's an upset for the ages. How did that happen?
Yeah, but I will say I am pretty phony when it comes to applauding because, I'm used to being there with Bob Costas. So when Costas doesn't win, I go, I'm in. Like, this is mine. And then,
when he's not nominated, everybody feels like,
oh, we're thrilled.
We got a chance.
And then all of a sudden, and the winner is Ernie. And then I'm like, I got to be really quick because I like you and I root for you. But after a while, I don't like you and I don't root for you.
That's so kind of it. But you know what? What's funny is when just to the point we made, when for so many years, when Bob was nominated, it was like, okay, good. I'll go, but I'm just going to be there to cheer for Bob, when his name is called. But those times when, hold on, I'm nominated. Costas is not. The guy who's won 857 of these bad boys, we got a chance.
I don't know if I ever told you this story, but there was one year when Costas wasn't nominated for the best studio host. And I'm nominated along with Chris Berman. And I'm not sure who else was nominated, but I'm at the table. They had tables back then. And I'm sitting there, and Chris Berman is talking to a couple of producers. Scott Ackerson was one of our producers. Bob Rauscher was a producer. And he's telling them that, I got to thank Tommy Me. So he's going down the list of everybody he's going to thank. And then he looks at me and he goes, good luck. Well, I win the sports Emmy, Ernie. I come back at the table, and it's as if I walked into a wake. I call my wife, and and she goes, "You don't sound excited." I go, "Oh, hon, it's bad." I walked out of the sports Emmys after that, went down to Clark's, and I brought the Emmy, and I sat at the bar with my Emmy, and I had a couple of beers because I couldn't just sit there
by yourself.
Yes.
Oh my God. What an image.
I know, but I felt bad that, like, Chris. The reason why I won is that Chris opened the door for us to be able to have fun on SportsCenter. Really, Chris is as influential as anybody who's ever done this. But I felt bad. I'm just there with that sports Emmy, and he's right across the table from me. And I felt terrible. And I just remember going, I'm going down the street, and just went to a bar, sat there with my Emmy, drank. Yeah.
My.
Yeah.
What a touching and disturbing story.
Yes, thank you. That is the title of my documentary. It's a 4-part documentary. Touching and disturbing. The Dan Patrick story. Play nice this weekend, by the way, okay?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Hey, by the way, Chuckster will not be with us for All-Star coverage.
Oh, his daughter's getting married.
Yeah.
How about
Christiana?
that? Do you think he
Christiana getting
cries?
married.
Do you think he cries?
Oh, no doubt.
I love it.
Oh, no, he's crying right now. I mean, it's not, you know what? And I've been down that road and it's fine. It's
Did
okay
you cry?
to cry. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But you know what? And see, I'm a sucker, you know, the movie Father of the Bride,
Yeah.
Steve Martin, because that always tears me up. And so I actually tried to circumvent me crying too much at Maggie's wedding by watching the movie like 2 nights before, just to try to get it out of my system. And all it did was exacerbate the situation. Something, I mean, because I mean, you're sitting there and you're about to do it, and you look in your daughter's eyes, and it's just like, oh my goodness.
I got to do it 3 times, Ernie.
But I wasn't a mess though. It's Dan. It's the greatest. You know, there's this great part. There's this horrible part, but when they mesh together, it just makes for the most unforgettable, cool day. You'll never forget it. You got to do it 3 times.
Yeah, I got 3 daughters.
Yeah, I've got. I'll be doing this again, at some point too. But it was, you know, to do that, and I was also the best man at my son Eric's wedding. So I've had these wonderful, incredible moments, and so if anybody ever has fun, say, "Oh, is anybody going to cry?" You go ahead, man. If there's ever a reason to cry, it's at moments like this.
I have suggested to my daughters that all 3 get married on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Cut cost and cut down on the tears.
That would be unique. You know what? I think when Eric and Maggie both got married, they got married a month apart in the same year. So that's why I'm going to be working until I'm 93.
Ernie, great to talk to you, and happy to play a role in some small part in the documentary series.
No, I meant to say that too, Dan. I'm sorry, because no, they talked to so many folks, you included, and the way our editors and everybody, I mean, they've done a spectacular job. And I don't know if you've watched the whole thing or any of it at all, but the way they put this thing together, and with the comments of folks like you and Wilbon and others, and Common and you name it, it's just, they did a spectacular job. And it's not me just saying, hey, this is great because it's about our show, but there are times when you watch a documentary, something like this, and say, man, is that well put together? It really is. So thanks for all your kind words about the show, man. You were awesome.
And if you win another Sports Emmy because of this documentary that I've been praising, that doesn't seem right, though.
If that happens, I'm just I'm going down to Clark's
by yourself,
by myself.
Yeah, with your Emmy.
Yeah.
All right.
Set me up, Sal.
Yeah, I'll have another round. Thank you, Ernie.
Have a great weekend.
See you, buddy. That's Ernesto Johnson Jr. III, TNT Inside the NBA, and part 2 of that 4-part documentary tonight, 9 Eastern. It's called The Role Player.